Hello and welcome. Today I am talking to the incredible singer, performer, producer, multifaceted artist, Miu Haiti.
Hello,
Yay!
hello. I'm happy to be here in Music Times.
Yes, welcome. We are so happy to have you. So you are an incredible singer, and we have so much to unpack about your really amazing career so far and your trajectory going forward. But first, I just like to start with like a fun, silly question, and that is if you could only listen to one singer for the rest of your life, who would it be?
Oh, that's easy. Rihanna.
Rihanna, nice.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think it seems obvious because Rihanna is Rihanna, but why?
Because I feel like she's the artist that I relate to the most, because she makes music in all types of genres and nobody question it.
Hmm.
And I like to be diverse and eclectic like that with my music. And yeah, I love everything she does.
Amazing. I like how early on did you get start listening to Rihanna? Like how big of an influence do you think she's had on the music you do now?
I'm not I wouldn't say influence. It's just like when you see someone do exactly this is what I want to do, and there's already somebody doing it. So that means there's space for me. It's more like um helping me give myself um um the permission to do this, being comfortable to do this because it's being done already. I'm not the first. So, so I started listening to her since SOS. But like On the Replay was the first song that got me into her.
Got it. Which makes which makes a lot of sense. An excellent song. But no, and I think it's so telling that she really is an artist that just flips through so many genres. She's like, no, 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 I can do it all, which is so telling of what you can do and the music you've put out so far and the career you're growing. So that's it just really it makes a lot of sense that you're like, nope, Rihanna, hands down. So love Rihanna, Stan. You also grew up with your dad playing the saxophone. So you were always kind of surrounded by music. How do you think that has not even influenced your sound, but influenced like your career growing up? What was growing up around music like?
I feel like maybe without me knowing, I was learning already about music, just listening to my dad playing saxophone around the house. Um, so I feel like it was already working on my ears. Just I know what music is supposed to sound like, um, when it's not good, because I hear someone rehearse every day, so I know when the pitch is not right, and like I feel like that's what I got from it without knowing. So when I got into it, it was easy because I listen to a lot of music. At home, we listen to all types of music. I grew up in a culture where we consume music from different cultures. Um, we listen to African music, Latin music, Caribbean music, obviously, and a lot of American music, especially urban American music. So, and on Sundays, opera in the morning, it was a thing.
Hey, I love that. Is that something everyone, or was that really something that your household did that
It
you're just
was it was what was on TV at that time on Sundays. On Sundays, The only thing on TV was like opera or church, and we so, so yeah, we opted for opera.
That makes a lot of sense. Are you so growing up around this because you grew up in Haiti,
Yes.
and then at what point did you move to the United States?
Oh, recently, 5 years now. Yeah.
Oh wow. So what was what's the transition been like coming over here? How do you feel like the industry is different? Do you feel like it treats you differently? How has the transition been?
Um, it was a transition because I went from being the person they stop at the supermarket to take pictures to someone invisible, and it was at first it was like, oh, that's awesome. Nobody knows me. So at first I was like, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. But then I was like, okay, how do I get this going here? Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was an adjustment, and you know, adapting to a new culture. Even if you know American culture from TV, it's not the same thing when you're living in the country actually. So it's a lot of learning for me. I observe, and I listen. I try to understand, because coming from another culture, you have like I feel like I have to intentionally try to understand.
Definitely. Are you what oh well, firstly, I'm sure we're gonna get people stopping you in grocery stores here very soon. But what were you say like, oh, growing up like watching like American TV and kind of siphoning off, being like, oh, you know what, I could probably piece together an expectation of what American culture is going to be like. What shows do you think you got that the most from before coming over here?
Oh, what shows?
Or movies, or like what aspects of American culture were you like, oh, or American things you heard that you were like, you know what, if I cobble that together, that's probably what America's kind of like.
Coming to America. um, um, what's I watched these movies in French, so I have the French name in my head.
That's totally fine. We can work backwards.
Maman, j'ai raté l'avion. Maman, j'ai raté l'avion. What? Home Alone.
Nice. Oh.
Home Alone. With like friends. Um, what else? What else? Ah, what else? Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like Eddie Murphy and Denzel Washington was like they were big. Um, yeah, it's around that. Yeah, and I watch a lot of like African American movies, like Madea
Mhm.
and things like that. So
That's how do you think that your perception there, like what were the biggest shocks when you came here that you're like, oh, that's different. That doesn't fall in line with the Medea Friends Home Alone coming to America contingent.
um, I would say um, you know how like I feel like America does a great job at advertising the country. So, so the image is more glamorous than like when you get there, you're like, oh, yeah, like everything in a movie is intriguing, exciting, and it's like
Like it's
um
romanticized.
yeah, romanticized. So yeah. And what else? And I come from a country where everybody's black, mostly. So it was it was um I was excited to see other people, like other cultures, like other races, and the diversity, especially in New York City, is just, and hear all the languages when you're walking in the streets. Um, it's exciting because yeah, we're just all around black, all shades, and here is just so many different cultures and genres, and the food from all over the world. It's awesome.
It's true. You can eat your way through New York and you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You talk about hearing all the different languages in the streets. You speak several of them. You speak English, French, Creole, and Spanish, I believe.
A little bit of Spanish, and I'm not fluent, but
You're
I can get myself fed.
How did you come about like learning all these languages and picking them up? Like when in the journey did that happen? Because you were even saying you watched some of the like Home Alone and everything. You're like, oh, it's my perception of America, but I watched it in French. So
So, languages. We grew up with French and Creole because all the books are in French, school is in French, and Creole is our mother tongue, so we speak that at home, and so French and Creole was like a given, and and at some point, like we have Spanish and English classes in school, and I was like very interested. I was like, at first, not so much the Spanish, but I had a good Spanish teacher, and she got me into it. She was like, okay, let's learn songs. I'm like, yes.
here we go.
She's like, yeah, I like, I was very lucky to have good language teachers. Um, yeah, and I feel like teaching languages with music is so easy for kids because yes, I love that song already. Of course, I want to know what it means, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how it started, and then I wanted to watch the movies in the original languages because so much is lost in translation. Um, so I started to watch my favorite shows in their original language, like um, Battlestar Galactica, um, um, Game of Thrones, and stuff like that. Yeah,
What language did you originally watch Game of Thrones in?
French.
Incredible. That's so cool. I feel like that must elevate it to a whole new level of
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we like the more I learn these languages, the more I see like so much lost in the translation. Like I'm like, this is not what they meant. This is not what they meant. Who translated this?
that's so interesting to see because like a one language horse could like I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what I speak, like this is what it is. And when people translate things for me, like I don't question it because like it's not even in here to question it. But the idea that it's like, oh, we could even speaking different languages trying to communicate the same thing and being like, oh, this is what they said. Like it's always going to be like a little bit
A
off.
little bit off, yeah. I feel like it's also the culture. It's not just the language because the person who's translating is translating from their own perspective
Mhm.
and their culture, and this is coming from another culture, like, and you translating it like how you understand it. And you see what I mean? So a lot of it is like, okay, this is the American perspective and this is the French perspective with like coming with the translation.
Totally. And then also you write songs in all these different languages. Like how does that process differ? Especially because now you're saying that it's like the translation between the two will always be like a little bit different. Like how does
I don't
ideating
know
and
if
creating?
it's just me. Actually, wait, actually, I have my first hit song. A lot of people ask me to translate it to English, and I feel like I'm like, I don't think that's possible. Like, I don't think, and like I tried, and it sounds lame, and I'm like, I don't think I can say this
Yeah.
in a way that serves it well. Like, it's for me, it's hard. Like, if a song was meant to be, like, if it came to me in that language and that's how I wanted it to be said, it's hard for me to flip it.
Totally. So you say like the song, so when you're writing songs, like different songs will come to you in specific languages.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool. Do you think have you noticed thematically something where you're like, oh, songs about this tend to come to me in this language, or is it kind of random? Like, have you found some meaning behind
Uh,
why?
I feel like it's kind of, it's maybe the influence of what I listen to.
Mhm.
Um, so I feel like if I'm a ballad, will come in French easier because I listen to a lot of French ballads. And a club song would come in English because I listen to a lot of American club music. Yeah.
Got it. Well, and now you have a song you've recently released in English called Is This Love? A music video came out 3 weeks ago. It is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Was the what drove this idea? What was the concept behind it? Can you just like talk a little bit about like creating this piece?
So the music video I have to give Ralph Leroy his flowers. He's the art director for it. He came up with the idea, and um, he was actually in the studio when I was recording this song. Um, that's why like I thought it was fitting that he was part of the music video. Um, it was a like a beautiful experience because like I did, like he was so hard on me. He was actually coaching me when I was recording it, and he was so hard on me. And when I did the last line, I finished the last line, and like everybody was like crying, and I'm like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, that's so funny. Oh my God, really? Yeah, I thought he would be, he knows the song well and he already loved it. So yeah. So he did a great job with the concept, keeping it simple and like intimate and minimal. Yeah.
And for people listening to this who may not have heard the song yet, but are obviously going to quickly watch this interview and immediately turn to the song, could you just share a little bit about what the song's about, like the idea behind, like the story you're telling in it?
So this song is specifically about um your state of mind when you're trying to figure out if you're in love with someone or if it's just infatuation, like admiration, or like you just like being around that person. So it's a lot of thoughts. It's just uh an overview of like my thoughts when I'm in that state. So I feel like there wasn't a song like that out there, and like I wanted to make it happen.
Absolutely. And I think it does such a good job of it is so like clean and dreamy and ethereal. And the music itself kind of has that same kind of thoughtful quality. I do want to ask, there's a section in the music video where everything's very clean, it's bubbles, it's very minimal. And then there's suddenly this like chocolate downpour that happens. It's like, it's very messy, it's exciting. Like, how did that come up?
Actually, that happens quite like, I feel like, when did that happen? Okay, right before we shot the the video, we were thinking about, we were like going over the concept again, and we were like, there's something missing. And Rastaway has a chocolate company, so so we thought about the chocolate, and my manager said, what if there was chocolate like falling on your body? I'm like, I love this idea. I love it. Let's do it. I'm down for anything that is out of place, unexpected.
Totally. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about being like, oh, I would listen to Rihanna all the time because it's like just filling in these little areas that's like, no, I'll do anything, like fill in anything. Wow, no, it's very cool. Everyone should check out the song and this music video. It's absolutely brilliant. Um, you really do have such a comprehensive slate of things you do. Like this music video you worked on with other people, but a past song you did, I know that you completely produced it yourself. You sang it yourself. You did all the music. What how was it collaborating with others versus producing one entirely on your own? And what was kind of the motivation behind being like, oh, this one I got to do it on my own?
Um, I feel like I was just experimenting when I did Real Ones. It was my first self-produced song. Um, I it's the idea of like independence and trying to like I love working with other people, but also I would like to be able to choose um to do a song, to make a song from start to end, without depending on anybody.
Yeah.
um so I tried it for the first time, and I was like, okay, let me just try to use these loops and stack them up on top of each other and see how it sounds like, and like see what's missing. Let me get some keys here, let me get some strings here, and that's how I got the first one. And I was like, oh, that sounds good, that sounds good. If I did it, like every time I do a little tweaking and it sounds better, I'm like, okay, let's go, we got this.
Absolutely. And is there something, this idea of being like, I just wanted to like try it all to see what I could do, what I could make. Like, how was it wearing all the different hats of the process? Because also you do a lot of different artistic things outside of music. You also are very into fashion and interior design, performance art. Like, how do you think that you're somebody that really does take on a lot of different challenges and put them all together? How do you think that influenced who you are as an artist and this process of like producing this on your own?
um it comes naturally to me because I'm just a creative person, and I need to channel it somewhere in order to keep my sanity. I actually can't cannot like not do something. Like I get like I get so like annoyed if I'm not busy. So I just find something to do if I like every free time gotta be filled with something. So that's how I ended up doing so much. so many different things. Um, yeah, all these things happen naturally. Um, yeah, I feel like I need all these things I do help me grow as an artist altogether.
Definitely.
So because like just an example, me like watching a bunch of home tours and architectural digest.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
architecture. Yeah.
Um, um, all of that, like, and like hanging out on Pinterest for hours and stuff like that helped me um with my like develop a sense for interior design. And I use that on In Face music video. I designed the set, and like the day before, the night before, I was on the floor like sewing curtains to make sure they're the right length because we couldn't find the length that we needed. And I was just like sewing curtains and just making sure that the set is exactly how I want it. Um, yeah. So when I saw it the day of like when everything is there, like the props are there, and I'm like,
Like it's just a real sense of accomplishment behind.
yeah. And I had a great team helping me at Perfect TV to make it happen. It wasn't just me, but like I love, like I always have a vision for everything I do, and I love it when it like it like my expectation is like it's like it goes over my expectations, and I see the thing. It's like I envisioned this, we made it happen together, and this is it, and it's even better than I imagined it.
Absolutely. And I that's such a fulfilling feeling. And I think it goes into your song you came out with back in 2019, In Face, which is another fantastic anthem of just kind of celebrating your wins and being like, no, I did this, I'm celebrating it. How much of that do you think you believed at the time of making that song? Or was it something that you're like, I believe this and I'm in here for it? Or is it something that you're like almost manifesting where it's like, no, this is the way that this is what it should be. Like I should be celebrating. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So when I made it in face, um I in face is me um giving myself permission to celebrate my little wins, because I never stop to pat myself on the back, because I'm always like, you're not doing enough, you're not doing enough, what have you done today? So and that's that. And also it's like my response to like, you see how like you have a lot of praising in the comment section, and there's that one negative comment, and it's stuck with you, it stuck with you. And I just wanted to respond to that, because people are always gonna find something wrong to like obsess over, and you can't let that like sway you. So it was also like trying to pump me up to just focus, don't listen to it, give yourself props for what you've done, and just keep it moving. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that motivation and that work ethic so speaks to how successful you have been and like the trajectory of what you're doing. And I think it's such a real thing, especially for creatives, feeling that every day, like, I have not done enough. I haven't done enough. I haven't done enough. But then kind of looking back and being like, wait a second, I did a lot. Yes, I did a lot 3 weeks ago. And I don't know if I'm projecting in any way, so please stop me if I'm wrong, but like there's that idea of you get to 3 weeks down the line, and back then you were saying, oh, I was not doing anything, and then you're 3 weeks later and you look back and it's like, hang on, I was doing so much 3 weeks ago, I'm not doing anything today. And
Definitely, definitely. That's so true. Because when you're in the moment, to be it's easy to not realize like, okay, I'm doing things, you know? Um, and like it's crazy how like I was like, I used to do so much. I'm not doing enough. And when I was in these moments where I was doing so much, I was trying to balance family and my career. I was going to like 3, 4 events in a night and make sure I have times for everybody. And um at that time, I didn't feel like I was doing enough still. So it's just a refrain that's never gonna stop. I just have to learn to manage it, you know?
Absolutely. And I think, again, I think it's a reason you have been able to be so successful and because you really are, you're doing, despite what the voice in your head says, you're doing so much. It's really incredible. And you've always done a lot. I'd love to ask you a bit more about the stuff you've done in fashion and interior design. I think are two very interesting niche areas that are also such like amazing creative outlets, but definitely outside of the world of music. Like, what have you done in those areas? What drew you to them? Like, how has that been?
Um, Fashion is just I used to design my own outfits for like TV shows and like interviews and shows. And people are always asking me, where did you get that? And I'm like, I made it. It's like, can I get where can I get it? I'm like, okay. And I got that a lot. And they were like, why don't you sell them? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try. So I tried. I was designing handbags and stuff like that. And I made a collection. It was great. Like I had help from my mom. So I went to her atelier to work. Um, and her people helped me put it together. And it was so much work and upfront investment too. And it went well. I sold everything and I was like, okay, I gotta step back. I gotta focus on my music now. I'll get back to this later because this is a lot to handle. I'll pick it up when I have like investment and help because we handmade everything and it lasts a long time, like in your closet, but it takes a lot to create. So yeah.
Really? So are you do you see a return to like when you have help and you have the finances, like do you see yourself returning to fashion in some capacity in the
Definitely, definitely. That's one of my goals. I definitely want to be in fashion. Um, I love I love to create. I love fashion because it's like an armor. Like what I feel like it helps me. I am I was always shy, and when it came to getting on stage to perform, I wanted to feel my best. And what helped me feel my best is getting my hair and makeup done, put on a nice outfit like a showstopper. Everybody's gonna be, ooh. Even before I open my mouth, I need everybody to know what's up. So, so it helped me a lot with the confidence and, having that confidence to start. Like it's like a match, like you need the spark so you can go instead of like you having to produce the spark yourself.
totally. That makes no that absolutely makes sense because you're really creating the thing that people are seeing and it all becomes part of this like presentation aspect, which it definitely helps get over some of the shyness. It is interesting. I talk to so many artists who are like, you know what, like I'm a pretty like shy person. I always grew up shy and like now I'm here, which seems like such a which would seem like it's kind of like antithetical to a career performing, but it's really not, because there is, I think there is an aspect of being like, okay, well, like this is all here, but I have so many ideas. So if they're going to come out, they're going to come out big. Um, do you, what inspired you to kind of not even get over that shyness, but to kind of keep moving beyond it to perform? Like, what do you think that drive comes from in you?
I think it came naturally because I feel like it's my purpose to share what I have. Um, I feel like God put it in me for a reason, and it's not for me to just keep it for myself. That would be selfish. And I'm trying to not be selfish.
No, and you definitely don't see, like you share, like it seems like every gift you have, you're sharing. You even had a cooking show during the pandemic.
I did. At Perfect TV, we produce many shows, and um, my manager was like, you need to have a show. What do you want to do? And I sat with my co-host Kimberly, and we came up with the idea of like, let's do a cooking show. I'm like, do you cook? And she's like, no. She's like, are you a good cook? I'm like, no. And we're like, okay, so let's be bad cooks on TV. So
You love it.
and we were like, okay, what, how are we gonna name this? And I said like, whoa, you know how like there's like all these videos online, all these memes about expectations versus reality. So let's do like recipe versus reality. So we find recipes online and we try to recreate them, and sometimes we mess them up. Sometimes they come up fine, and we have like people testing it and to give like a rating to the dish. So yeah, it was a lot of
That sounds like so much fun. What is the dish you made that I'm sure there were many that were brilliant, but what was the thing you made that you think probably went the worst?
oh, sushi.
What happened?
We tried to make sushi, and then I mean it was looking decent. Like it was a little chubby, like the result. It was the roll was a little chubby, but when we had a Japanese on staff, and he he tried it, and he was like, we were like, how do you rate it? He's like, one. One. Just 1 out of 10, not even a 4. It was the most hilarious thing.
That sounds absolutely hysterical. I'm definitely watching Recipes versus Reality. That's going to be the new show. It sounds amazing. Is there anything that you feel, so you, when you started producing this cooking show and you were hosting it, what else were you doing for the show?
Oh, um, I was really hands-on in Perfect TV. Um, we were producing the shows together, and I helped a lot in set decor, and so it just happened naturally. We're just in a meeting, and they're like, okay, where do we place the entrance? Where do we put the couch? Where do we? And I'm like, okay, we should put the couch here. The coffee table should be here. We should have a chandelier coming down the coffee table. We should have the entrance over there. And they're like, okay, you got this. Just you're responsible for it. So it just became like naturally they would ask, "Oh, what do you think of the lighting in this?" And I'm like, "Oh, what if we move this here?" And it just I had so much fun doing that, and I didn't know I would appreciate, because I know if I'm not fully active as a singer, I would love to be in the background.
Yeah.
And I love entertainment so much. Um, I would love to be a part of the making of like anything artistic and entertainment.
Beautiful. When did you know that you had this passion? Like when you were like, okay, like I'm going to be in entertainment, whether it's on stage or off stage, I will be in entertainment.
Um, I don't know if I deliberately made the decision. I when I was in my teen, I got casted as a petite model for an agency, for uh, a stylist, a national renowned stylist in Haiti, Muriel Lecomte. And I mean, just doing shows for her, I met so many artists, and like I was in this lifestyle with these artists, and I met them, and I like it's not like you far away, you can get an autograph. You can literally, I was like, I can literally walk to this person and say, "Hi, my name is so and so, and I love your music. Can I get it?" I don't have to sneak in.
Yeah.
It's just literally there, and you can literally have conversations and ask questions about their career and how they made it happen for themselves and everything. Um, and I was like, I love this lifestyle. This is me. I'm comfortable like that. But and I got like I was convinced by my friend who was an even not event planner but a promoter, um to participate in a songwriting contest because he heard me sing after the shows. And he's like, "There's this contest going on. Do you wanna?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll do it. I'll try it." And I tried it, and I was in the 10 finalists, and we went on a national tour. We were going to the countryside and playing live, and I was in this bus with all these artists that I was watching on TV. And, and it was like people I looked up to, and they were so nice to me. They were like treating me like their little sister, and it was awesome. Well, I was the only female artist in the bus,
Oh my gosh.
and
Do
it
you
was
feel like
awesome.
it's, yeah. And how old were you when that was?
17, 17.
Do you find the music industry in Haiti or in America too, like is like really male dominated or?
Definitely.
Yeah, just yes. How has it been as somebody who is like a woman who really wears every hat in the process? Like, have you seen, have you met any adversity through being a woman in music in like this landscape, or has it not really been something where you're just like, I'm here and I'm gonna do it and no one's really stopped me?
Oh, there's a lot of stopping. Like, I mean, you just have like what I do. I just put on my blinders, and I'm like, okay. What I learned, I read a book that changed my perspective entirely, and I can't remember the title or anything, but it taught me that nobody owe me anything, and that saved my life. Nobody owe me anything. So even if I was promised a contract and someone said something and I don't have that contract anymore, it's okay because nobody owe me. That person didn't owe me that contract, and it wasn't for me. Like if it didn't come to me, it wasn't for me. So I just move on, keep moving, keep doing what I do. What's mine will come to me, you know? So that's how I move. So I don't get like like because a lot happens. A lot happens. I vent. Like I'm not a stone. I vent. I go home and I vent.
You have to. It's important.
And I vent and I let it go. And and one thing I learned also is not to make enemies, because it's a business and people are just defending their interests. And if you are not in their interest enough at this time, it's okay. Maybe later. Because even if someone did you wrong, you might have to work with that person again. Because
Definitely.
there's not a lot of us. It's not a like you gonna meet that person again. Um, so you gotta be mindful of that. So just don't make enemies on terms always, because the door might reopen. And that person who used to be against you might be for you later. So it's all good.
Absolutely. And I think that's just such an like real, like an not even just optimistic, because I think it's very practical, but I think it's a very healthy way to look at any arts field, because you kind of have to be like, hey, you know what? Just be nice to these people. It'll come, blinders on. Like, I think that's such a good way of looking at it, of just kind of moving forward and letting it go. You mentioned reading this book, and I know you also have done some stuff with like writing and stuff. Do you consider yourself like a big writer, a big reader?
Big writer. I'm. I wouldn't say. I published a poetry book in 2012, and since then I haven't published anything. But I might go back to that, but I feel like later in life.
Yeah.
But I love to read. I always did. Um, and right now I'm very very grateful for audiobooks, because I can read a lot more um than I used to. Um, Audible, sponsor me.
You heard it here first.
So I am. I've always been like I was like they used to call us. I was in a little group. They used to call us library rats because we were always hanging out.
I love that. Is there like what has been your favorite book you've read recently? And then what was the like literature that kind of got you into liking, but like what used to be your favorite stuff and that could still hold, and like what are you reading today?
Um, Actually, the first book that got me in love with literature was The Little Prince by Saint-Exupéry.
Oh yeah.
And my dad was touring and he came from Canada with this book. And like it was a big deal for me. I'm like, my dad thought of me and bought me a gift. So it was a big deal because usually he doesn't care. So I cherish this book. Um, and like the whole concept of if you um if you put your attention to something and you cherish it and you show up for it and you take care of it, it becomes so dear to your, so close to your heart. You love this thing even if it looks the same as all these other things, but this one is special to you. And that idea really really stayed with me. There could be a lot of people out there, and there's that one person that you invest in, that you take time to cherish, and that person is like unique to you. And it applies to anything. and
Yeah.
I love that concept. So that got me into like reading lots of books. And then the book that totally changed my mindset was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And the whole concept of, if you want something, the whole universe will walk you through until you get to that thing. And everything will make sense when you get there. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want for my life. This is exactly what I want to go where I'm going. So yeah, so I've been thinking like that. I got to then I got to read I was convinced to read what's that manifestation book?
Oh, I'm not going to be able to pull the title, but I know the one you're talking about.
The Secret. Yeah.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
I got into The Secret and I was like, okay, that really like that's adding on to the concept of Paulo Coelho about how the universe serves you.
Totally. Do you think that you, do you think these books found you or did you seek them out? Because they seem to be so in line with your your thoughts on like your conceptualization of like the universe and history. Like in what level do you think that like, oh, these books kind of came to me, or were you like
I
this book
honestly
found
think
me?
they find me
Yeah.
because when I read The Alchemist, I was like 12. Like,
Mhm.
what are the odds that I would pick up a book like this?
Yeah, that is early to read The Alchemist. In
Yeah. And I feel like The Alchemist was because my aunt was reading a lot of books, and Paulo Coelho was one of the he, her and her boyfriend, they were into authors, and Paulo Coelho was one of them. So I read a bunch of books from him, and these were from my aunt's stash. I got it from from her. So it started like that, and The Secret I found. I actually wanted to read the book. I watched the documentary, and I was like, at first I saw a glimpse of it on TV, and I was like, this is crap, and this is BS. And then I sat down, and my art director Ralph Leroy told me, you have to read that book. You have to. And I sat down and watched the documentary, and it was okay, but reading the book is something else.
Mhm.
Um, I actually wanted to read the book, and I'm like, okay, I gotta buy this book, but let me put that for later. I went to my uncle's house and I found this exact book in his basement, just laying there. Nobody gave a damn about it. It was just laying there. And I was like, this book literally found me. And I picked it up and I was like, can I have this? He's like, "Look, have all the books you want. I don't, I don't even know these were there."
That is crazy.
Yeah,
Wow. And so, oh, sorry, you please.
yeah. Actually, The Secret, when I'm going through something, I would open it in any page. I'm like, God, please just show me something that can help me right now. And I would open it and will like fall on a message that speaks specifically to the situation that I'm in, and like and actually I had a friend who was going through something. I just shipped the book to her, and I was like, this will help you. It helped me a lot, and it's gonna help you. I'm just trying to pass the blessing forward.
Absolutely. And I think like a solid, like a true, because there are the people who are like, oh my God, everyone read this. And it's like, that's not kind of a almost a personal thing. But the second you have one that you're like, no, 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 in an absolutely like definitive way, like you specifically need this book. Like it's such a powerful thing. And that's so do you think that has influenced your ideas on manifestation? Like, how do you feel manifestation plays into who you are now? Or do you think it just kind of reinforces things you were already doing?
Um, I feel like it's just a support system for me because I already know what I want, but having the concept of the universe is helping me is good for my mental health. Because if I was alone, sometimes you feel like if I'm alone in this, there's no way I can make it happen by myself. But if there's someone helping me, if there's like a greater force out there helping me, definitely I can make this happen. But it's still like your strength. It's still you, but you need the right mindset to move forward. Sometimes you need a little help.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. It's honestly like like just that extra level of support being like, okay, the universe, we got this. Like be making it a we is so powerful. Um, and really speaks again, it all comes back to like, speaks to your career, how well you're doing. Talking about that again, as we are nearing the end of time, word has spread that you have an album that might be coming out within the next year.
Yes. Yeah. So by the end of this year, I should have an EP out. So like, keep an eye open for that. So I'm not gonna spoil it a lot, but there was a lot of I was very free when I was creating these songs. There was no I wasn't worried about anything. I was just focused on creating. And I rarely get to do this like that. And being in the studio with no time limit and just immerse myself into creating these songs really, really helped me put out my best work so far. Um, and also I really made it I really purposely went deeper than usual because I had experience with other musicians that really, really pushed me to dig deeper when I'm writing right now. And I had to confront things that I was scared of. Um, and I also had fun. Like it's not just dooms and glooms. It's just and also I never left a song on a negative note. I like to uplift at the end, even if the I'm there and I'm like venting, and at the end I want the people to know that there's a way out of everything. Everything you're going through is gonna be over at some point. So always keep the hopes up.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Well, we are out of time. Is there anything else you want to promote, advertise, words of wisdom to leave us with?
So I would say, oh my God. um, um, Please stay in touch with me. My name is Miu Haiti, Miuhaiti on all social media. Stay in touch with me and keep an open eye and keep a lookout for the EP coming out, and go watch the music video. Leave a comment under "Is This Love?" I'd like to hear your feedback. Add the song to your playlist.
Yay. All right. Well, so amazing to talk to you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. It was so nice talking to you. So easy to talk to, and you do your job so well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.